This is Dr. Tracy Gibbs, Chief Science Officer for LifeWise. I've got some really deep subjects we're going to talk about tonight, things that everyone needs to know regarding when you're in the distribution business of dietary supplements. Before I start tonight's topic, though, I want to announce that you will want to join me for sure next week, Tuesday, April 16th, so 1 week from today, next week, Tuesday in the lab, because I will be doing a training on the new product that we will be launching on the 20th. Now, we're actually launching two products, Lift, which is a kind of all-in-one, hydrating, mood enhancing, energy boosting, powder sachet beverage enhancer. So you put it in your water, you shake it up and drink it down. And it's got some of my favorite ingredients in it, including like ashwagandha. We'll talk extensively about that next week. So I'm going to be doing the in-depth training on Lift, our new mood enhancing, hydrating, energy boosting product. And then we're having our regional convention here in Salt Lake City on that Saturday with a potluck at my home on the 19th, the Friday evening before. And then the following Tuesday after that, so not this next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that, I'll be doing the extensive training on the other product we're introducing called Marine One. So please, 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 if you want all the information, not just information, but I'm going to go in-depth training on each of the ingredients for Lift. And then if you want the lowdown on Marine One and why it's so good for you, phytoplankton, all the amazing benefits of phytoplankton, you're going to have to join me for the next 2 weeks, the next consecutive 2 weeks of In the Lab. However, tonight, we're going to go over the do's and don'ts of distributing and selling dietary supplements, which all of us are. We're all partners in LifeWise, and we all talk to people every day. At least I hope you're talking to people every day about the amazing products we have at LifeWise. But as you're talking to people, tonight I wanted to share the things that you shouldn't or legally cannot say, and then ways and things that you can say as you're sharing the product. And you'd be surprised. There's actually quite a few things we can legally say about our products, but there are some things that you absolutely must avoid. So let's get into that. I get, dozens of emails and text messages and Facebook messages every single day, literally dozens, probably more than a dozen on my phone, probably more than 2 dozen Facebook messages. And then some people email me their questions, and their questions most often than not start off by saying like, hey, my best friend or my cousin or my daughter or my husband or whatever has XYZ disease. What products can we take to fix that? Those types of questions, you guys, put me in a really uncomfortable position because number one, I'm not a medical doctor. And even if I were a medical doctors can't even answer questions that way because a medical doctor can't even tell you that he can cure an XYZ disease, right? They can treat it. They can do lots of things for it. But again, we're talking about medicine and medical doctors. Over here, what we do is we talk about health and well-being, and we're supposed to be talking about dietary supplements. And if you break down that word, I want you to just think about that word. A dietary supplement means something that enhances or supplements your diet. Food meaning, right? Now, I know that a long time ago, around 500 BC, Hippocrates said, let thy food be thy medicine, right? And then there are other proverbs that you have heard saying, hey, there are foods that can heal and foods that can kill. But according to our wonderful government and the FDA, foods cannot heal you and foods cannot cure you. Foods are supposed to be neutral, okay? And they base their laws on that type of system. And they have based their laws on what they call structure function claims. Before I get into structure function claims, though, I want to address kind of some of the questions that I have gotten. When you ask me a question about a specific disease and if one of our products will cure that disease or even assist or help the symptoms of that disease, you put me at great risk of liability. You put the company at great risk of liability. And if you are relaying that information, because ultimately many of you are saying, hey, my cousin did this or needs this, or my aunt or whatever needs this. If you then relay that information and say, hey, Clarity will cure your dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, you're putting yourself at huge risk as well with the FTC and the FDA and the legal entities that are out there. But before I get into the do's and don'ts, I want you to know your constitutional rights, at least in the United States of America. I know for my Canadian friends, they're being ripped away from you. It's outlandish what's happening up there north of us. And it's starting to happen here in the United States too. But you are the primary caregiver for yourself and for your family and loved ones, okay? Meaning that only you can rely on yourself when it comes to a particular symptom you're having, or the cold or flu or the disease. I mean, putting your faith and trust and relying on a doctor who, number one, doesn't know you. Maybe he knows your name because you're in his database or you've seen him once or twice a year. You know, putting your faith and trust in that system is wrong. It's completely wrong and it's inexcusable. If you have an ailment or an illness, there are three things that you need to do. Number one, identify the root cause of that problem. Now, it doesn't even have to be the root of the root cause. For example, if you have pain, identify, is that pain based on an injury that you do need to go see a doctor for, or is it because of chronic inflammation or just old age or things like that? And if you can identify the root problem, then most likely you can identify what you need to do to fix that problem, okay? Without asking anybody. I mean, obviously, if you have rheumatoid arthritis and you've got pain, well, the cause is the rheumatoid arthritis. When you look at names that end in itis, you're dealing with inflammation. And so what product have I talked about that deals with inflammation? You don't need to ask me. The training videos are out there, all right? Don't put me at risk or the company at risk, but find the answers yourself. So number one, look at the root cause. Number two, educate yourself. Read books on health. And yeah, there's a ton of them. There's a lot of information. I actually like reading books about specific ingredients, not so much health topics, especially diet trends. Do not read books about diet trends, all right? Because they change year to year. I mean, they are trendy. Atkins diet was popular when I was first getting into the dietary supplement industry. And now we have, you know, you guys might have remembered the Hollywood diet. Now we have the paleo diet or keto diet. Again, trendy. But books about ingredients are typically not trendy because ingredients don't change. An ingredient is an ingredient, right? Echinacea is echinacea. And if you want to learn about echinacea, read a book on echinacea. If you want to learn about an ingredient in one of our products, like vinpocetine, for example, I'm holding this product here. Vinpocetine is an ingredient in this product. Then read a book or read studies on vinpocetine. Don't read somebody's opinion about it. Read an actual study. So educate yourself. Proper education, all right? And number two, experiment. The cool thing about dietary supplements that I love is that they are not drugs. Do not experiment with drugs, okay? We learned in the 80s, right? What was the phrase? Just say no when it comes to drugs. I don't care if it's a prescription drug or a street drug. I was taught to just say no, all right? But food, on the other hand, like how many of you have a recipe from your grandmother or your mother that you've modified, that you've changed. You know, my grandma made these amazing oatmeal cookies that had raisins in them. And I'm not a big fan of raisins. So when I got the recipe, I added chocolate chips instead of raisins because I love chocolate. Is that going to kill me? No, because it's food. Foods won't kill you. Herbal ingredients, you guys, don't kill you. The rumors out there of these contraindications with dietary supplements and how dietary supplements are dangerous are a lie. They're a blatant lie, okay? Even in that huge lawsuit with the Ph.D. and Ma Huang, you know, regarding that company that grew to like $550 million in sales, if anyone remembers Metabolife, there was 6 deaths that the government had piled up and said, hey, you Metabolife, Ma Huang is responsible. And if you look at every single one of those deaths, the herb was not responsible at all. One lady was suicidal and she was drunk and drove herself off of a bridge. But when they did the autopsy, they found extremely high levels of alcohol and they found ephedra in her system. And instead of blaming the car falling off the bridge into the water or the alcohol, they blamed the ephedra. The famous baseball player for the San Diego Padres who died, he died of a heat stroke, but they found ephedra in his system, so they blamed the ephedra, okay? The company was absolved, by the way, of every single one of those, but it made national media, so people think the herbs are dangerous, and it's just not true. There's been 0 deaths from herbal overdose, okay? Now, what can happen, I learned this early on in my child, and I wrote it in my book called My Home Pharmacy, where I've listed, you know, this information that I'm giving you now. Early on, at 5 years old, I climbed my aunt's cherry tree because we didn't have a cherry tree in Idaho, but when we visited my aunt in California, she had a cherry tree, and I spent all day eating cherries. And I got very well acquainted with her bathroom that night because I had massive diarrhea. You eat too many cherries, you pay the price. You eat too many prunes, you pay the price. You take too many herbal supplements, you might get an upset stomach or you might get a headache. That's like the worst that can happen. So my number 3 rule for you to figure out what products would help with a particular symptom or disease or whatever, again, you're not asking me because I'm not a medical doctor, but experiment. Find the root cause, educate yourself, and experiment. No bad or harm is going to come from those 3 things, okay? I don't care if somebody's got an autoimmune disorder and they've read information on GMI and they find out that GMI is a command peptide or command molecule that helps modulate your immune system, and they read that study and they take 1 strip, but the symptom for their immune issue doesn't go away, then take 2 strips, take 3 strips, take 20 strips. I don't care. It's not going to harm you, okay? You can't overdose on this. It would be like saying, I'm going to eat 22 chocolate chip cookies. Are there going to be consequences? Yeah, you might have an upset stomach. You might get well acquainted with the bathroom that night if you overdose. But again, no lasting harm done. And you might find your sweet spot. For this, by the way, I'll just give you my own personal experience. I got this ringing in my ear and it's driving me nuts. I found if I take 5 Clarity a day, the ringing in my ear goes away. It took me up to 5 of these before it went away. Okay, that's not a claim. I don't know if it'll help you or not, but I'm telling you my personal experience. I experimented and discovered what's right for me. So instead of asking me or the company questions about, will this product cure Alzheimer's or will this product cure my Parkinson's or whatever, I'm not going to answer those questions anymore. I might just ignore them, all right? But let's hear what the government has to say about this. So the government has realized that lots of people are using these products to help fix their problems, and then they're spreading the word that, hey, this stuff's better than drugs and whatnot. And so they created in 1996 these dietary supplement structure function claim laws. So let me tell you what a structure function claim is. Kind of break down those words. your body structure or your body function. Anything outside of normal function or normal structure is a violation of the FDA laws. So for example, you chop your arm off and then you claim that you took this and grew your arm back. Is that outside of the normal function or structure of your body? Yes, it is. It's an obvious and blatant, well, most likely a lie, but and that's what the FDA is looking for. They don't want people to lie. And if you don't have substantial evidence to back it up, then basically you're lying to people if you say that this will help grow a limb back. All right? So let's talk about some common bodily functions. Let's move on. Sorry. When they talk about things outside of the normal function or normal structure of the body, they're basically saying, hey, diseases. Because to the FDA, a disease is not normal. It's not a normal function or normal structure of the body. Your bones are a normal function, and taking a dietary supplement, or in other words, eating a food that supports your bone structure, is perfectly legal to say, hey, I take my multivitamin, the one, because it contains calcium and it supports healthy bone structure. But if you were to say, hey, I have osteoporosis, I have bone degeneration, and I take the one to cure my osteoporosis, you have just made a disease claim, because bone degeneration is kind of a normal function of the human body. So when you reverse that normal function, you're now making a claim. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Now, there are some things we can make claims, and I'll get to that a little bit later. So kind of consider what a normal structure or normal function of the body is, and you can talk about that all day long. You can talk about supporting my immune system. You can talk about nourishing my heart or exercising my muscles or things like that. All of that is completely normal. And we know that foods can support a healthy body. You know, doctors are saying that all the time. Hey, get the right nutrients, get plenty of sleep, and your body can heal itself. That's a normal function of the body. So if you're supporting your body's natural healing process, that's perfectly legal to talk about as well. But curing my Parkinson's disease, or treating my dementia, or, you know, reversing my osteopenia or porosis, these are all things that are classified for drugs, all right? So when the FDA looks at whether you're breaking the law or not, they actually have 11 criteria that we look at. We're only going to be talking about 6 or 7 of those 11 items, and we're going to do it really quickly. So let's talk about something that's relevant to some of our products. Like, I've heard a lot of people say, hey, this reduces my pain associated with my arthritis. I have arthritis, and when I take this, it reduces my pain. Legally, you can't say that. Now, you could say that this helps alleviate my occasional symptoms. You know, you could say something like that, or you could say, hey, sometimes my pain gets me down, but I get relief when I take Restore. You can say that because you didn't associate the pain with the disease, okay? So really watch your words and sentences to make sure that you're not including the disease in what you're talking about and reversing or correcting that disease. You can't do that. But if it's a normal symptom of that disease, like rheumatoid arthritis is sometimes painful, you can say, hey, you know, occasionally I have pain. Or if you have occasional pain, maybe give this product a try. It helped me. Something like that, without making the claim saying that this will alleviate your pain, okay? You could also say, like, the one helps support healthy joint function because I'm getting nutrients that help support my joints. Or you could say, hey, the one helps support healthy heart function because of the omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9 that's in the sea buckthorn oil. So as long as it's supporting a structure or function of your body, perfectly fine. But I take the one because it cures my ADD, or because when I take it, I have no more ADHD symptoms or whatever. You can't say that, all right? Because you have just listed a disease in your sentence, all right? You could say helps maintain a healthy heart, helps maintain healthy immune function, helps maintain healthy brain function, things like that. All of that's totally legal to say. A second criteria that they use is when you're using test markers that would identify a disease. For example, your triglyceride or cholesterol levels. Hey, this lowered my triglyceride levels. Can't say that. You could say that this helps maintain healthy triglyceride levels. Because again, triglycerides are a normal part of the structure or function of your body. And supporting that is fine, or maintaining healthy levels of a normal structure or normal function of your body is fine. But reversing something is not. So alleviates my pain in my joints. Can't say it, because taking something that would alleviate pain is outside the normal function or structure of your body. But supporting my joint health, totally legal to say, all right? You could even say, hey, I take Restore to help support my blood pressure levels. You can say that because you didn't claim that it lowers or raises your blood pressure levels. It just supports healthy blood pressure levels, okay? I know it's tricky. I hope you're following me. They also use other criteria. For example, and I think I've already talked about this. Let's take osteopenia, for example. You can't say, hey, this is reversing my osteoporosis, or, hey, I did a bone density test, and because of the one, my bone density scores are normal again. In a personal testimony, in a personal conversation, you might be able to say that, but the FDA doesn't want you advertising that, okay? But what you can say, the cool thing is let's think about this for a minute. What symptoms are normal or within a normal structure function of aging? Let's take women, for example, in menopause. A normal symptom of menopause is hot flashes. A normal symptom of menopause are mood swings, or trying to think what else besides hot flashes and mood swings. I don't know. Though, let's just go with those two. If you took the one and those symptoms went away, it's legal for you to say that, because those are normal symptoms of the aging process. And the FDA actually allows it. You could say, hey, this product alleviated or took away my mood swings and hot flashes. I know that's hard to understand because I just said a disease, but they don't consider aging a disease. So think of disease names like heart disease, cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, things like that. Those are all off the table. You can't say them. But when it comes to symptoms of age, or for example, something that's normal that a lot of people experience, like constipation. Hey, I took the one, and I don't know why, but for some reason, the enzymes in the one alleviated my constipation. Or, hey, try the enzymes because they might alleviate your constipation. Totally legal to say, because constipation is not a disease. It's a normal function that a lot of people experience. It just popped into my head. This is not a hint of things to come, or maybe it is, but this helped my erectile dysfunction and it increased my sexual arousal and performance. Something like that. You could totally say that, because it's a common symptom that people associate with aging and things like that. So if it is a common problem that a good portion of the population associate with aging, you can say that if the product has helped you, okay? But do not use disease names. I know that heart disease is common, okay? Again, I think it's a lot of our population. I think it's like 8 to 10% or something of the population has had like heart-related events. It's crazy. And especially if you get into your 60s, then you're looking at like literally 1 in 3 people. So 30% of our population has had that. But it's still a disease and you can't talk about it. So I'm talking about common symptoms like constipation, achy joints, menopausal mood swings, low energy because of testosterone levels, things like that. Those are all legal to talk about. Say, hey, this new product from LifeWise called Lift, it totally alleviated my low energy. You know, it kept me hydrated, so I felt more flexible in my joints and things like that. Totally legal to say because you're not talking about any diseases. I'm going to have to quickly move on. Oh, never compare one of our products to a prescription drug, okay? Don't say, hey, this was better than my Lipitor for my cholesterol levels, okay? Or Restore is comparable to Lipitor for cholesterol levels. Or I was able to take Shield instead of my allergy medication or things like that. You just have to avoid comparing a dietary supplement to a drug, all right? You also can't use the words like a common drug classification. So you can't say antiviral. You can't say antibacterial. You can't say antidepressant or things like that, okay? You could say, for example, because depression is something that a lot of people suffer from, and it's not a specific disease, you could say, hey, this really picks my mood up. And sometimes I feel down and blue, but when I take Clarity or when I take Lift, I don't feel that way at all. So you could say that it helps alleviate your symptoms of depression. That would be legal to say because it's something that a lot of people suffer from, and depression is not a specific diagnostic term, okay? Maybe instead of using the word depression, say, hey, my blues, or when I'm feeling down and out, or something like that. Just best to avoid the disease name in the first place. I've heard a lot of people say this, hey, this is a natural antibiotic. Again, you can't say that. You can't say herbal Viagra. There's people selling those types of products out there all the time. Can't say that. You can't compare it with a drug, and you can't even say it's a natural cholesterol reducer or things like that. All right. That's important for you to know. Also, what's impermissible or what you cannot do is you cannot cite a study that doesn't exist. You can't say that Shield has been clinically proven to, let me think of one of the clinical studies on GMI. They have some clinical studies on GMI for increase in NK cell activity. You can't say Shield has been clinically proven to increase NK cell activity. What you can say is that GMI has clinical studies showing that it increases NK cell activity. You can say that because you didn't make the claim regarding the product, all right? You were talking about a specific ingredient, and as long as you have the study to back that up, that's legal. But you can't make that product claim. And what they really don't like is they don't like you associating the product when you state that. You can't say, hey, GMI in Shield has been clinically proven to do XYZ. They don't like that. All right. So try to avoid doing that. If you just want to talk about GMI on a Facebook Live or talk about GMI with your friends, you can do that all day long and show them the studies and stuff. But you can't say this product does this, okay? Because this product hasn't been clinically proven, even though one of the ingredients inside has. So you have to disassociate the product and the ingredient if you're talking about diseases or clinical studies, all right? Lastly, let's say, let me see here. Oh, I already said herbal antidepressants, herbal, herbal painkillers. You can't use those type of words. When you're talking about structure function claims, you can't also associate that with the disease. You can't say helps maintain healthy joints for people with arthritis. Okay? You can say just helps maintain healthy joints. Don't then add the disease word at the end of it. All right? Super good information. Now, there's one more thing that the FDA has legally put into some of these laws, and it's called their catch-all phrase. if the FDA doesn't like you, they're going to come after you. I don't care what you say. If you followed the law or whatever, they are big brother. They are the boss. They call it their catch-all claim. And I'm going to read their catch-all claim for you. All right. The FDA prohibits the use of a claim that otherwise suggests a disease or disease condition. So even though you may have avoided using a disease name, if there's suggestive material in your conversation that talks about the possibility or gives people the hints that you're using that disease, they'll still come after you. So, like it or not, I've given you the facts about what you can and can't say and how you can and cannot promote the products. But in the end, the FDA does have the final say as to whether you were breaking the law or not, which kind of sucks for us. So it's really best to just avoid talking about diseases in all aspects. Now, people know that you're selling dietary supplements and people don't know the training that I just gave you. And so they are going to ask you, they're going to continue to ask you, hey, my uncle has Parkinson's disease. What product should I use for him? Your reply is simply, well, our products are dietary supplements. I can't make any guarantees that anything I tell you is going to cure him of Parkinson's. But our products are highly nutritious and they support healthy immune function and they support healthy brain function. And if it were me and it were my uncle, I would go ahead and try the one or experiment with Clarity or things like that. Again, go to the root cause. Parkinson's is brain issue, right? So I'm going to do Clarity, and everybody needs good nutrition. So I would do the one. And man, you never know. GMI is amazing. So throw in the GMI too. Tell them about Shield. Again, root cause, education, and then experimentation. So if that person comes back 30 days later and says, hey, man, I took one of these Clarity, I gave my uncle one of these Clarity every day, and I didn't see any change. Just say, hey, did you try 3 a day? Again, experiment. Think of those 3 things, right? Root cause, education, experimentation. So that's how I'm going to answer all your questions from now on, because I can't be specific. You can't be specific. So just talk about the normal structure and normal function of the body, and our products support the normal structure and the normal function of your body, and don't deal with diseases because they're not drugs. So I'm going to end it there, and I'm going to end with a reminder to join me next week, Tuesday, if you want all the information on our new product that we'll be launching on the 20th. Again, we're launching 2 new products, but next week I'm going to train on the lift, and then the week after that I'm going to train on Marine One, which is our marine phytoplankton product. So thank you for joining me tonight. Please share this information. Get it to your teams so that they will also not get in trouble with what they're saying. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Fran, for joining me. Valerie, Jim Sellers, Charles, thank you. Congratulations, by the way, to all of our rank advancements. I think Rob talked about those the other day. I wanted to give my congratulations to all of you too. It's so cool to see people start making some rank advancements and earning some great money with this company. Again, thanks for joining me tonight. Have a good evening. Bye.